Today I wanted to share with you what I call the secret sauce of learning. It's basically the reasons that the activities and lesson plans that I share are so powerful. In another video, I had shared what I call the all-purpose lesson plan, which is the basic structure of those. And then as I work through the different activities you can do with KEVA Planks and loose parts, I'm basically sharing different challenges that you can do. The concept of using open-ended challenges with loose parts, that's really the foundation of what we're doing. And so I wanted to share with you some of the things sort of behind the scenes that are happening anytime you do any of these activities. The first one is that you are combining, or when we're doing these activities, we're combining creativity with facts. So there's all these things that you want your students to learn, the standards that you have to meet, and you have all those demands on what need to be accomplished in your classroom. And if you can combine that with creativity, where your students get to use the creative side of their brains along with factual things that they need to learn, the synergy of those two things working together makes them better at retaining those facts and learning those things. So that's creativity and with the facts. The next item is the freedom to fail. I used to always call it freedom to fail. Now I tend to use the word setback a little bit more, because ultimately we do want success. And so we're hoping that students will become comfortable and just expect that in any project there are going to be setbacks. But a lot of people talk about becoming more comfortable with failing. A lot of entrepreneurs talk about that. One of my favorite quotes from Winston Churchill is, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal, it's the courage to continue that counts." I think he was talking about war at that time, but this follows through with projects and anything else that we're working on. The primary thing with this is having students become comfortable with making mistakes, knowing that things are not necessarily going to work out the way that they expect, and that when that does happen, that they can rebuild even though things fall apart or it doesn't look as good as they expected it to. They can pick up the pieces and rebuild. That's a foundational life skill, a life mindset. The next item is don't put STEM in a box. STEM is a part of everyday life, and it's woven through all parts of politics, humanities, history, literature. Oftentimes, the STEM activities are very scientific. You're doing something that is experiments, robotics, anything like that. It's a very specific STEM activity. But those sorts of activities, building things and constructing things with loose parts or with KEVA planks, those all require STEM-based concepts, with designing things, engineering the way things fit together, the physics and counterbalance of how the blocks support each other. Those are built in anytime you're doing something with the planks. So if you are studying history and you want to build a settlement or a castle, or you're studying plants or botany and you're going to build plants, or you're going to build gardens, or you're studying anatomy and you're going to make parts of the body, all of these things can be done with loose parts with KEVA planks. You're automatically getting the STEM components of that because you're doing all these engineering things, but you're also combining that with the literature, with history, humanities, anything else that you're looking at. So by doing the cross-subject teaching, it adds extra mental hooks to the brain. It makes the science and the humanities come together, and that's the way it is with life, and you can have that in your classroom as well. The next item is girls in STEM. There are a lot of pushes to help girls become more encouraged to explore STEM activities and STEM careers, and that is absolutely fabulous. The thing I would want to encourage is that we want boys and girls equally to reach their fullest potential, whatever that is. It might be STEM careers, it might be something else. We see fewer boys go into college now. It seems to take boys in particular maybe longer to decide what they want to be when they grow up, and just have less direction. Boys and girls equally need encouragement and stepping stones to discover what it is that they want to what they're good at and what they want to become when they grow up. One of the nice things we find with these types of open-ended challenges is that they are equally appealing to boys and girls. If you look at some of the more engineering type toys, like if you look at Legos, you'll find if you go to the Master Builder section of Legos, it's primarily boys. There's some girls in there, but it is a boy-leaning activity with KEVA Planks, that there is absolutely no difference in the way boys or girls approach these type of challenges, where there's art, there's engineering, you can build anything you want. So these are very gender neutral activities that we're doing. Another thing that is happening with any of these activities is we're using active learning. The mind remembers what the hands do. When you do something, you remember it, and it sticks in your brain better. And by adding active learning components to subjects you already teach, you can keep your students moving, which helps to keep their minds moving. If their body's moving, if their hands moving, their mind will be more active. And by breaking up your day, your classroom day, with meaningful movement activities that require hand and body movement, you can improve their attentiveness during the activity, during the KEVA activity challenge that you might be doing. But even after that, they're finished with this, they've been moving around, and now they're in a better state of mind to go back and maybe work on some hard math problems, or write a paper, or whatever else you need to be doing that might be a very mental-oriented, sitting still and thinking activity. So the next one is I have labeled as strugglers. I'm referring to any student who kind of struggles with school or with life. Everybody's struggling with something, but there are some students they're not your academic super players. Maybe they're not good at sports. They just are not sure what they're good at, and they may feel intimidated by school. They may, oftentimes, if they don't feel like they're very good at things, they don't enjoy school. They just feel like they're not successful. But if you can give them an activity where they will find success, anyone can jump in at any time and build at their own speed. The challenges that we're doing are engaging enough and simple enough that most people do feel like they're successful with that. Maybe that like the first toehold in school where they find something that they are good at. Giving people a way to succeed when they aren't succeeding in other places is a powerful thing to be happening. And for some students, this is how they discover that they are good at three-dimensional thinking. Things that make great plumbers, great architects, great carpenters, interior designers, things that require this kind of spatial creative thinking. And oftentimes there aren't a lot of those things going on in school. Music, sports, academics, those may not be what floats their boat, but they may have this skill, very unique skill that enables them to design and build things that is never captured anywhere else in the school setting. The next item is the joy of art. Pablo Picasso, this is another one of my favorite quotes. He said, "Every child is an artist. The problem is how we remain an artist once we grow up." Kids naturally want to build stuff. If you put them in a sandbox, they're going to want to make things, finger paint. Children want to explore and be creative. Oftentimes, as we grow older, as you go further in school, oftentimes the art classes drop out. There's no crayons, and eventually there's, in some schools, there's virtually no arts and creativity at all. If you can introduce your students to the quiet joy of creating things, of whether it's art-like or engineering-like, it's still the process of creating. And the last thing I wanted to mention is just meaningful free time. But having loose parts such as KEVA Planks in the corner of your room, the students can go there and build in their free time as an incentive, or they finish something up. That activity is meaningful, and it does all these other things that we've just been talking about, and you don't have to be a part of any of that. They're just totally self-driven. One thing you can do with the free time corner of the room is you can put a voluntary challenge of the week, just some open-ended challenge that if they want to, see if you can build anything that looks like the house that you live in. That's That's the challenge of the week. So when you go to the corner, you can build anything you want, but if you can't think of anything else to build, see if you can build something that looks kind of like your house. And it gives you a valuable filler time in your classroom. I hope this is helpful for you to understand sort of the depth that is taking place behind virtually any of the open-ended challenges that we're doing in our lesson plans. Some of these things, depending on the activity, will have more emphasis than the others, but essentially these things are taking place in the background every time you do an open-ended challenge with loose parts like KEVA Planks. So hope that's helpful, and we'll see you again next time.